Hi and welcome to another Seeing Double video. I'm Garden Girl Jen Gallacher and these videos are hosted by twopeasinabucket.com. So I wanted to go over creating a layout for a boy today, and I'm going to be mixing and matching some different things to create kind of a cluster. And I like to create clusters on my layout, and there are certain things that I like to shop for when I'm creating clusters. And so I'm going to start by showing you a few of those. Things that I will look for include things like pockets. I might look for frames. I might look for little file folders, maybe a journaling card or two. I love the cutouts from Elle's Studio. I love the concept or a product that does all the work for you. This was an envelope actually that I cut in half and disassembled, and I do this all the time, but if I get a product and I love it, so it kind of looked like this at first, I will disassemble it and make it work for me, and I love this red, so I'm going to use that. So when I'm looking for things that I want to use in a cluster, I'll look for a variety of product types as well as a variety of sizes, because that makes a cluster on your layout a little bit more interesting. So when you're cluster shopping, be sure to look for elements like this. So let's go ahead and start making our layout. I'm going to start with the paper and glue pattern paper at the bottom. And the background paper is from the Rough and Tumble collection by Cartabella Paper. And the Echo Park paper is just on standard pattern paper, while the Rough and Tumble collection is on a textured paper, so it's a little bit more heavy. And it's a fun boy collection. So at the bottom here, I have a strip of striped pattern paper, again from the Rough and Tumble collection, and on the other side adds a tone-on-tone star. And the colors from this collection, the colors found in this paper strip, are what inspired the project that I'm going to make today. So first I started with the Rough and Tumble collection kit, and then I shopped my stash for elements that I thought would work well for this. Let's go ahead and straighten up our paper. So I usually start with the busiest or most colorful object on my page, and then I find matching items. Now, one way to save time when you're creating any layout is if you print from home, you can add photos onto one sheet of photo paper. That saves cutting time and just saves time in general. So I have 3 photos of my son, and it's again just printed on photo paper. It's HP photo paper. If you have a photo printer at home but you don't have something like Photoshop, which is what I use for my photo editing, did you know that you have the option of using Windows, and I'm sure Mac has another version? They have ways of printing photo pages. So do some research on how to do that, because it saves a lot of time and it wastes a lot less of your photo print paper. I know a lot of you are getting the selfie printer, and that would be a fun way to do a project like this, even though it doesn't print it out as a grid. Alright, so let's start building our cluster. And I am going to loosely place everything on so that I can get a feel for where everything needs to be placed down. And this is exactly how I plan my clusters. So I don't want the pennant to touch his face or head too much, and I'll just start kind of randomly placing. And I might move things around, just kind of start layering before I adhere anything, because if I adhere it and I don't like the way that it looks, then when I rip it up, sometimes I rip the paper, and I just don't like it when that happens. So I kind of have a concept of what I want to do, so leaving some of the elements in place, I'll start attaching the elements I know where I want them to go. And again, the concept is to overlap. The key to a cluster is to have different varieties of items that overlap and touch. And it takes a little bit to get a feel for how you like things to overlap. Move this over just a smidgen. And I'll move things a little bit. This is permanent dot roller adhesive that I'm using, but it allows me to move things if I move quickly. So you can see I changed my mind a lot, and that's okay. I'm going to add a photo corner from Canson. There are a lot of manufacturers that make these, and I'll be sure to link you to them in the products section. This is a fun little tab from October Afternoon. And this pocket does open. It's from Fancy Pants, and you could add additional journaling or additional photos inside. Sometimes I will use some of the package for that, but then I'll use some of the package as just an element on my page. So you have the option of doing however you want. I'm being picky today, can you tell? And that's okay. I want it exactly how I want it. So the things that determine whether I move something again is I know that I want to create a visual triangle. So I wanted this particular envelope pocket to overlap the photos. I wanted this to be overlapped by this. So I'll move things until I get it exactly how I want. And this is a little file folder. It's from an older collection from Jenny Bolin. But I thought it was so cute, and it's in a fun red color that matches what I'm trying to accomplish on this page. Then to decorate the cluster a little bit further, let's add a little bit more adhesive to make it stick down. I'm going to use some pattern paper from the Rough and Tumble collection. So I have some of this red chevron. It has tickets on the back, and I have a gold fleur-de-lis which has little cars on the back, and you can see that I'm predominantly using the B sides of the pattern paper, and I've notched the ends with scissors just to make it a little bit more fun. Now you could also do this particular layer with washi tape, and I wanted to combine both washi tape and pattern paper. So I do have some red dot washi tape from Bella Boulevard. I'm just going to place that on the center here. You'll notice that I'm trying to pick colors and elements that match other items on the page. I have a number 9 because in this photo he is just getting ready to turn 10. Then from the Rough and Tumble chipboard stickers is this little sticker that says "You make my heart melt," and it's in the same tone as this fun handwriting paper from the Paper and Glue collection from Echo Park Paper. So I thought that would look good on the top of this Best Day Ever card. And again, I want you to see how it's just adding some dimension to your page just by adding some fun items for the cluster. Then from the same chipboard collection, I have these fun little buttons, and you'll notice that they're quite tiny. And so what I'll do is I need to get those button centers out. I'll use my paper piercer and I'll just poke through the holes, just like that. And then because it's small and I've been playing with it a little bit, it's a little less sticky than when I first started, so I'll just go ahead and add a glue dot. You could also add twine to the center of it. I'll just put that in the center of the D. I use lots of little tidbits and things from October Afternoon. Just makes little clusters like this a lot more interesting with all the different layers that I'm using. 2Piece has several exclusive items, including paper clips, and I love the arrow paper clips. They also have star paper clips. Be sure to check out all the different colors. This one is silver, but you could also get a red that matches this collection very, very well. At the bottom here on the striped pattern paper, again, I'm using another sticker from the chipboard collection, and I'm going to use some glue dots. Once I remove them from the back of the packaging, sometimes if I've manipulated them a lot, they don't stick quite as well. So it takes a little bit more glue or adhesive to make them stick down. And then I have some bingo numbers from Crate Paper that I'm going to add. And I'll add some additional photo corners to the photos. I think photo corners finish off photos really beautifully. And it adds a little bit of color to the white. I always print my photos with a little bit of a white background. Now to the tabs that I have that are plain in nature, you can do a couple of things. You can use a pen to fill them in. You can use a sentiment stamp, or you can use stickers that have words in them. And I'm going to go ahead and use some stickers to fill in the tab up here. So the sticker I'm going to use is another one from the chipboard collection, and it says together, and we'll go ahead and layer that right on top, and that brings some of that yellow from this particular pattern paper back into the collection, or rather the layout. At the top here I have a border punch, or rather a border that I've punched with a border punch, and you'll see that I've distressed it slightly. I've ripped it. You can use your fingers to further distress it. This is a technique that I use frequently. Any excuse or opportunity to add some additional texture to a page is always fun. We're going to go ahead and tuck this at the top. The Rough and Tumble collection does include papers that are pattern papers on one side and solids on the other, so you get a lot in this collection, and I like a collection that does that. So there you have a layout that uses a bunch of different items to create a cluster about a boy. So it's a boy page with the cluster. Let's go ahead and make the bonus project today using some of these same materials. So for the bonus project, I'm going to be creating a card, and I'm just using a standard white card base. You could also fold any color of cardstock in half to create a card base. Again, some pattern paper from the Rough and Tumble collection by Cartabella, and it is a similar soft blue to the pattern paper that I used on the layout. Again, let's talk about clusters, this time for a card. So this particular one is from Chic Tags, or Chic Tags, however you prefer to say it, and I simply punched a hole in the top and added some twine. And you can do clusters on cards in the exact same way that you do them for your layouts. And you're simply going to start by layering the items onto your card just as you did the layout. You just want to make sure with a card that you leave enough room for the sentiment or the theme of the card that you're going to be using. So I have some elements from Chic Tags as well as some from the Pier, from Crate Paper. It's a fun collection. And then some of that yellow pattern paper that I used before on the layout. I cut a small banner for the card, and I measured it so that it is the same width as the card, but then I notched the edges. Just want to make sure it's lined up and nice. And then for the sentiment of the card, I picked a chipboard sticker from the chipboard Rough and Tumble collection, and it says Funtabulous, and this is going to serve as the sentiment of my card. So you can easily see that by layering on both cards and layouts that you can create some fun clusters. And it's really easy once you get the hang of it. You just look for a variety of sizes, and then you look for a variety of colors and shapes, and that makes your clusters a lot more interesting. And then you can come in with some finished items like twine or enamel dots or spray ink just to dress it up a little bit more. Thank you for watching today's video. Be sure to subscribe to the 2Piece YouTube channel or visit 2pieceinabucket.com for additional tutorials on creating cards, layouts, and altered projects.